Kim. So, what I want to start with is I want to talk a little bit about your background because I
Yeah,
think that was one of the things that blew me away the most when I started working with you is just the depth of your knowledge and how
right.
much you have done. So,
Yeah.
in a nutshell, what would you say your expertise is? Like, what do you do and what do you work with? And then take us into a little bit about your background and how long you've been doing this.
Okay. All right. So what I do is for the last 25 years, 26 maybe now, I have raised my dogs holistically in their fed real food. I've raw fed, completely raw fed now so I have generations. I have 3 or 4 generations of raw fed dogs, and they're raised holistically, minimal vaccines, and now, they are just coming out with new stuff all the time, like we were just talking about
Mhm.
with gut health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it's so interesting rather than the conventional,
Mm.
you know, basically. And that's gotten ridiculous. And so, there's a huge push right now to educate as many people as possible about raising their animals holistically because cancer is at an all-time huge high. And
Mm.
it never used to be this high,
Mm.
but it's the over vaccination and other drugs and
Ah.
processed food.
Mhm.
So next month
Mhm.
will have been 40 years that my first dog, Sam, my first Samoyed was born. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Amazing. That's a milestone. And so you have been raising and breeding and racing and showing
yeah,
dogs for 4 decades. Like we're almost at four
yeah.
decades. But in particular, the breed that you have the most experience with is Samoyeds, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
tell a little bit like what kind of a dog breed is that and why Samoyeds in particular for you?
Okay, so the Samoyed is it's an original breed. A lot of your double coated, almost all your double coated dogs are have Samoyed in them. They have found a few years ago bone from Samoyeds from 4,500 years ago. They're amazing. So historically, they lived with the Samoyed Indian tribe in that tribe's occupation was herding reindeer, and so they herded the reindeer. They were their transportation and sledding, and they lived with them in the tombs. And I'm sure they ate reindeer.
Oh, amazing.
You know?
Amazing. And so over those years, like you have showed these dogs and
Yeah,
and also bred and raised other champions, like for other people who want to show these animals, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
you yeah.
So I've shown a lot of my dogs. It's very hard when you're doing sled dog racing and training for that and doing the races and showing the dog. So some of them, maybe not all of them, did not get their championship, but it wasn't that they were the lesser animal or anything. It
Right.
was just a lack of time, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. There's only
Hmm.
so much you can do. And
Yeah.
so so with that, I mean, you really specialized in like with showing, that's the best of the best. And then in racing, that's performance. So your experience with these dogs and then also helping other people who got into the same kind of thing, your experience with these animals and the level at which you were interacting with these animals was really top level. So it wasn't enough for you just to have companions and take them to the vet when they needed something or whatever. You were really interested in optimal health and optimal performance. And so
Yeah.
that led you to really away from, Western and sort of typical veterinary care, really into very proactive
Yeah.
types of holistic care. So speak about, because I mean, that can be like a whole topic on its own. So speak to that shift a little bit and why you became so passionate about holistic care of optimal health and optimal performance for dogs.
Right. Well, yeah, even like when I raised my dogs conventionally, you know how you just get this nudge, like this just is not right, you know? So I probably did half of what they suggested you do because I'm like, this is just not right, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But my dog Ivory, she died. She was misdiagnosed. She died. She was given medication for Cushing's and she died from that medication.
Oh.
So yeah, so, yeah, when that happened, I'd already been feeding raw, but that was just a big, huge push to like, this is it. I am done. I'm not doing this anymore. So yeah, so I sought it was hard though. I sought out as much as I could find, but then I started reading all these books. And seriously, you couldn't find the professional. It was hard to find the professional 25 plus years ago, but the books, I just kept reading book after book, and then it was like so interesting and it's like exciting and it's like my one friend says it makes you want to go out and dance in the road, you know?
Yeah. Spread the good word, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's so incredible. And for so many of us, that's really what kickstarts our own story is we have this experience of following traditional advice wherever it might be in our chosen field that sometimes leads us down a path that hurts us or hurts our business or whatever it might be, right? Like we have this personal experience of this path is not working, and so we set off on this other path to really educate ourselves. And in doing so, you found this passion, right? This passion and
Right.
and just this natural curiosity you had. And so just in like living your life and fulfilling your passion and helping others, you built up these decades worth of incredible holistic knowledge and wanting to share it. So tell me a little bit about how you went from that, like just genuinely enjoying it for yourself, to wanting to build a business around it. Why did you want to do that?
Mhm. Well, so about 6 or 7 years ago, at this time, once again, I met with a coach about a program that she offered was Grind to Glory. Okay. And she, like the first call, I didn't even know this person. And she says to me, I just get this huge nudge that you were supposed to work with animals, you know? And she's like, Is it dogs? Do you have dogs?" I get chills. And yeah,
Ah,
yeah. And she's like, "I know you're supposed to do this. So like and she goes, you are supposed to spread the word, about
oh my gosh.
this. Yeah, about there's a different way. And so that was the start of it. I didn't know how I was going to do it or how it was all going to happen or anything, but I kept trudging along. And then you just, you know, everybody's added to your like family.
Yeah.
It just keeps growing, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't think I knew that part of the story. That's very cool. That's very
Yeah.
cool. And then so you want to pursue this as a business, and so probably taking courses and
Mhm.
programs and things like that. And I really believe that everything that we do, even if it's been a bad experience, like adds to the next step and the next step. And so
Yeah.
give me a little bit of a snapshot about some of the things you had either tried or learned about um, over the last few years before you came to work with me this past year. Like, what were some of the things,
Okay.
and you don't have to like name names or anything like that, but some of the
Mhm.
things that maybe were false starts or didn't work as well as you thought or that did work and advanced you. So give me a little bit of an idea of what you were trying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after the one program that we were in, there was a few of us that we stuck together. We went into another program, and once again, I was kept being told that I needed to do this
Mm-hmm.
work. That this is my sole purpose in life. So my graphic designer, who we share.
We do share. Love her. Yeah.
Her,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She kept telling me, Kim. So her and I would do some things, right? Nothing's like really taking off. And she's just, Kim, you've got to do it. I just feel it. She's like, you've got to work with Charlene. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I did.
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh. So like we I've at the time it just seemed like little steps forward. But then like today, for example, I stopped and I thought about what I started with and what is my business is today. And it's like mind-boggling. It
Yeah.
seriously is all the progress. Like I started with not one client. And like 3 months later, I had close to 300, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty fun. I will say that for sure. And so, just to give people who might be watching this down the road a little bit of an idea, so you had tried to do a lot of these things for yourself, right? Like take a program,
Mhm.
implement it. Because I mean, you've got 4 decades of knowledge, so it's like there's so much up there. So it can sometimes feel like, where do I even start? Like, how do I articulate this? How do I turn it into an offer? Like, it can feel overwhelming
Yeah.
when you're the expert, right? It's like, where do I even begin? And so when we started together, we jumped in with one of my, like we did a business by design blueprint, and which gave you everything to do with your human design and your gene keys, and really kind of teased out the most aligned structure and strategy for how to proceed. And for you in this case, because it's not the case for everybody, but for you, it was most aligned to create more like a digital product and a digital suite that you weren't going to have to be delivering because you were still working full time. And then also in terms of your design, we just wanted to have it quite a bit more passive, right?
Yeah.
Than to have
Right.
you
Yeah.
fully doing things. And so to begin, we put together a lead magnet so that we were building your audience. And so we put together, out of your brilliant mind, a raw truth, a conversion guide to converting your furry best friend to a raw food diet over one weekend. And so
Right.
what did you think of that process from taking all of this knowledge and turning it into this physical product that was then going to go out into the world? How
Oh
was
my
that for you?
God, it was like a whirlwind. Like I had no idea, and Ricky, the graphic designer, and it was just like, but it was amazing. I mean, the end product was so amazing. But I want to go back to the blueprint for a minute because that to me too was just like chills. Because like the blueprint, because I mean, seriously, like, we're not used to, but we're more aware of like the gene keys and human design then. But like seriously, when you think about it, how amazing that is, because it was like right on. I mean, everything was right on. It gives you
Yeah,
just like chills, but thinking about like how right on that blueprint is,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, to
And
really
then,
be seen and have it like really be, it's not just a generic business plan, like do this, do that, have this.
right,
It's you, right? It's everything.
personalized.
Very personalized. Yeah, yeah. So that was a big deal for you, was it?
It was. And then just like taking that basically and like putting it into like the raw truth, basically,
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
this is the way we're going to lay it out because of your blueprint. I
right.
mean, it
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah, very cool. And then, so then you were running ads to that. So we also created like a mini funnel, right? We wrote some
Mhm.
ad copy and got some ad creative and set up a simple little funnel. And then it was just like ping, 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 like people downloading this guide. And so suddenly, where for 6, 7 years there had been no audience growth, really,
None.
that
Right.
within a short order, there were several hundred people
Yeah.
were saying, yes, this is the kind of information that I want. This is incredible. And you were getting really great feedback from that too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The feedback, almost everyone has said that contacted me, how eye-opening it was. And I mean, that is so rewarding. Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And for their dog, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, that alone is so rewarding and gratifying because so many of us go, like when we're on a dharmic path, a purpose-oriented path. That is the most important thing, the gratification and the fulfillment. But then we do very much want to make money, right? So
Right.
we don't just want to be filled with compliments. We want our bank account to be filled too. So that was kind of the next step. Because first in business, you want to build an audience, you want to connect with people, you want to nurture, you want to establish your authority. And then, of course, we want to monetize that. So the next piece, because again, we didn't want a whole bunch of like hands-on delivery, we created a simple digital product. And then that was a really beautiful, the Pause and Reflect Holistic Dog Diary. And so again, we pulled in the lovely graphic designer that we've mentioned. And then so we created this digital product that could then be sold within that funnel on the back end of the funnel. And then we also sold it organically. So we created a little mini flash sale that we sold through your existing social channels. And then we also put that into the funnel. So these were the very first sales that you made in your business. So how did that feel when that started to happen?
Oh, that was amazing. It was exciting. It was amazing. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, to
yeah,
finally see some dollars actually come in after
yeah.
all of these years of just ideas,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
so I'd love it if you told the story that you told to me last week or the week before when we talked, when you were getting this Stripe notification
Oh
that
my
you
gosh, that
weren't
was
sure.
so weird. Sometimes I think I'm losing it, right? So so I'm looking at my bank account this one day, and I see, like you build me, and then okay, so the money goes out for you,
Yeah,
and then there's international fee or something like that, and then there's another fee, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like is Stripe now charging me to use it?
right,
Use it again, like what is this, and because they already take out money, right? And I'm
right.
thinking, God almighty, they're taking out more, like, and I'm just not getting it. It's not even registering. And the dollar amount, number one, should have registered. It did not. And number one, it wasn't taking money out, it was putting money back in. And so,
Yeah,
like, oh my God, I sold something. And really, that was just like we really weren't doing Facebook ads. We weren't doing anything. That's why I think my brain just didn't even recognize what was going on.
yeah. So your very first experience of passive revenue, right? Yeah, which is so fun. Like so many firsts, right? Like first
Yeah,
audience growth, first sales, first passive revenue, like all of these firsts that occurred in a very short period of time with your business.
right, right.
Very
Yeah,
exciting. So
right.
I would love to hear from you, like what this has meant to you to create this, like this physical outcome, this tangible outcome after so many years of kind of like not feeling like you could really get any traction.
Well, the big thing is, I mean, once again, is this blueprint
Mm,
and knowing, like, okay, so you could do what I did for 6 or 7 years and spin my wheels and go nowhere. Or when you know exactly, like, okay, you're on track, you're supposed to do this, or
mhm,
maybe you're not even aware of whether or not you should do this or that, you
mhm.
know you'll have a better idea if you know what your design is, right? And
Yeah.
what you're basically designed to do and what you excel in.
Mhm.
You're not wasting all that time and money,
Yeah.
right?
Isn't
Doing
that the truth?
all the
Yeah.
wrong thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a time saver, a money saver, like just really
Oh,
efficiency, like
yeah.
focus on this and leave all of this, right? Like, yeah, it's
Yeah. And
a
even
lot of
if it
time.
doesn't happen right away, you kind of do it, just leave it, walk away and come back and go, wow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or and just like, even like, okay, so nobody's responding to me, I ask a question, what do people want, nobody responds to me. I just left it, and then I'm like, and then look what I walked right into, some amazing. So now everybody has to wait and see what comes up, because I'm not even telling
Yeah.
nobody.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah,
What
it's
you're coming.
amazing.
Yeah. So I'd
Yes.
love to hear also, in addition to some of the business changes and the business accomplishments, what do you feel like has changed either within yourself or also within your life as you've been taking these steps forward in
Yeah.
investing and fulfilling your dharma?
Yeah. It's wow. It's a lot. It
Yeah.
really is because it is because there's some things you tolerate in life, okay?
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, okay, but this really drives me crazy. And, it's very irritating that this is going on. And so when you realize, it's best to like walk away from a lot of the stuff,
Mhm.
it is amazing. It
Mhm.
is an amazing thing. Your life is just so much better.
Yeah.
So if people would understand that rather than being like stuck in the mud, you know?
Yeah. Well, it
Yeah,
sounds like it's given you a sense of empowerment or
yeah,
confidence, or even just the ability to create a new reality rather than feeling like you're just stuck with
stuck.
settling for
Mhm.
whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, don't ever settle, no matter how old you are,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
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 Oh
So,
yeah, that's kind of irritating, Like people, they think they get to a certain age. Oh well, I'm retired. Like I'm not quite sure, and I'm like, well, like, does that mean you're dead, or like, what is this? Seriously, you know?
yeah. Are you comfortable sharing what your next birthday is going to be and what your perspective is on this stage of life?
Oh yeah, I'm not dead. Yeah, and actually, okay. So in May, I'm going to be 68,
Oh my
and
gosh,
yeah,
amazing. Amazing.
yeah. And I mean, like I pretty much almost feel like this is like a new life for me. Like, yeah, absolutely.
That's
I
so
mean, like a big new life,
yeah.
not like, oh well, I'm gonna retire and die, I guess. I don't know what they do, but I don't know how they can stand it.
No,
Yeah,
no. And you can see anybody watching this will be able to see how much life and how much passion you have, and just this zest for wanting to continue to give and live and fulfill the things that are on your heart, right? That you're here
yeah,
to give. I think that's so inspiring, Kim.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Happy for you. And so to close this out, if there was anybody who was, I don't know, similar age or thinking about starting a business, no matter what their age, or something on their heart, and then even considering like the path that you want to take, whether like what would be your recommendation on that for how to go about
Oh, honestly, I mean, and I mean, I'm just glad it happened to me in my lifetime. I mean, seriously, because it could not have. But like, I don't care what age you are, and if you feel that strongly you are supposed to do something, I would do it. Don't worry about what anybody else has to say. I always knew I should work with animals, and actually, I've had people tell me that. But it's the how do you do it? Like, how do you get it going? What would you do? And I mean, at the time that I was originally told this, like, I don't even know if the internet existed, right?
Right, right. That was actually coming to my mind is that some of this is also now having the technology and the access available because
Yeah,
now you have a global reach, right? This doesn't just
right,
the the close personal or local circle. Like you're not
yeah,
limited by physical location. Like you get to reach
right,
and touch people around the globe with this, right?
right, right. Absolutely.
What a time to
Yeah,
be alive, hey?
yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I would not hesitate, like, really, seriously, at all. And there's like just a different life out there than
Yeah.
the, I don't know what to call it, but you know,
Just settling and going quietly into the night, hey?
exactly. I mean, like, I mean, even for you, think about like, you're married, you have two kids, you know, like, and like it's just like, but you've stepped out of the box and done different things, and I'm sure down the road you were, and well, next year, this year, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
right?
More coming. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Kim. I think that's why we vibe too, and like this willingness to not just accept what the sort of the typical is or the narrative is, and to really continue to reach for innovation and new experiences and greater levels of fulfillment. And so I think that's been really cool for me to witness, and such an honor and a privilege for me to get to work with you in bringing this level of knowledge out, because like I said, I had no idea the level of knowledge that you carried, and in the months that we've been working together I have been so blown away by you and your experience. And so it's an honor and a privilege for me to help bring out 4 decades of knowledge into the world that can help so many other people. Like that's it's an honor and a privilege for me, Kim, so I
Yeah, and
appreciate you.
me, because I had all those dogs. I mean, like, seriously, because my dogs did run races, sprint and mid-distance races. And so I had a lot of dogs,
Yeah.
So I had that knowledge of owning all those dogs, and they were amazing. And not only that, they taught me, because they were amazing. So it's just all so very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and then to bring that forward, right? Like making their
Mhm.
lives mean something. And so I think that'll be
Yeah.
great for people listening and watching, what listening in and watching this is to feel that spark of all of this knowledge and life experience that can be then put to use to help so many other people. I think that's going to be really inspiring to a lot of
Right.
people. And so
Right.
to close this out, Kim, is there anything, if anybody was, watching this and was on the fence about working with me and the methods that I use in terms of business development, what would you say to that person who's just like, I'm not sure yet? What would
Well, I would do it because number one, and that's another thing. So like I've taken like we were discussing like many courses, right? And I would just sit there and then I like message Ricky and I'm like, did you understand anything they were saying? So you break things down into so it's understandable,
you
and give so you have a complete, and a person has the complete knowledge of what was just discussed. Because like somebody like me, I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea what they're talking about.
uh,
So yeah, that's so helpful.
awesome.
And yeah, the detail, yeah,
Awesome.
very
Oh, thank
important.
you. I appreciate that. I will fully receive that. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you very much for your time today and for sitting down with me to talk about your experience. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you.